content co-creation with me, myself, and I. One of the things that I've been focusing on lately is how to live a life where I can be free of the exploit or be exploited cycle. And in mass at large, if folks are going to exploit nature, capitalism, and other facets of human nurturing in nature, may it be in a neutral way, such as taking a swig of water, perhaps, and that being a sort of exploiting of the resources you have access to without exploiting the body. And I don't know what the rules are to YouTube yet, because I'm not read on what is and isn't kosher, but I live in a state where marijuana is legal. I keep smelling some strong mold from somewhere. I'm going to have to move where I'm at here sooner than later. And actually going to go ahead and start that now. So I'll be back.
Just move on up. For peace you can find.
That works. I wanted the tree as a background, but the smell was overwhelming. I'm quite sensitive overall to my environment and to others and otherness. And that mold was, you can see the flashlight reflected in my tooth. That's cool. There's a little light right here. Either way, no mold. While I like a good old hammer bowl or whatever they're called nowadays, just a regular old bowl, I hate the taste, and I definitely need to invest in a pipe cleaner and just maintaining my technology rather than just letting it get old and stinky. So I just wanted to get on here and rant, see what comes out, stream of consciousness. What's the deal with mental wellness? And expound on where I am right now, what I've been considering keeps me motivated, inspired, what doesn't, and where I feel I should be right now and where I'm at. So let's get into it. And surely I will miss some of those topics and readdress them in future times. So yeah, I want to address poverty and say one of the deepest desires of my life right now is to just be poor of poverty, because using poverty as a way to exist is not the way I want to be forever. Like, I definitely see where folks can say it can be helpful with character development, and I can definitely see where you can learn viable life skills within this environment and this setting. Not like I'm taking a fucking vow of voluntary poverty anyway. It's just what I was born into, and to a larger cosmic scale, as long as there's poverty of even one individual, man, animal, or life in general, then we're all somewhat enslaved, and we're all somewhat unfree. So I just got back from the Stargazer Cannabis Festival, and that was really exciting. I don't necessarily want to promote smoking cannabis all the time. That's something I would definitely like to grow out of, and have been talking about that literally since I started. And at the same time, it is an efficient way of utilizing cannabis, and I'm using it as a crutch. I feel less creative without it, less stable at times. Food is less attractive without it. When there's weird smells around me, that's an easy, familiar, literal haze to surround yourself in. Sometimes I like having short-term memory because I feel like a lot of the things I'm involved in are not quite memorable. At least that if they are, I don't think any amount of cannabis smoking will completely eradicate them, as much as it may just make them a little foggy. So it's a risk I'm willing to take, a price I'm willing to pay. I ain't gonna act like I can quit if I want to. I am definitely somewhat habitually and or mentally addicted to cannabis, which I reckon is such a taboo to address, because it's the perfect medicine, panacea, and there are no ways one could be using it and abusing it without some user error or some... There's like always a mythological tendency to somebody around, at least the areas I'm familiar with, to abuse cannabis. You either become somebody who's like a Rasta and an elder and an OG and somebody we look up to and just kind of excuse your excessive consumption of, or you're going to argue for your right and privilege and desire to use it anyways. Yet that's still obscuring that it is not being designed to inspire us nor heal us nearly as correct as it may be able to be used. And that's just why smoking is like, it's basic, it's exciting, and it's something that is glamorized in the media and glorified by thousands of years of use. And at the same time, just because we've done something for thousands of years, even more, does not necessarily justify it nor mean that it's okay. Hence why I practice veganism, which will definitely be a bulwark of my vocalization and backbone to my works, the supporting structure, because at times I feel like I can just rant and rave and be lacking in structure. However, I also prefer overall to have a principle of practical and pragmatic use, to be a principle of principle, perhaps, and influence the now as is. So, yeah, part of my content and or content co-creation is just going to be about bringing you into my life and sharing problems and solutions that I have so that I can connect with other individuals and we can share with more problems and solutions as is right. And part of this just feels right. Part of this is just something that I've wanted to do for a long time, and as I touched on in previous videos, was just always had some reason not to do it, just like anything you love to do, but tell yourself that it's cringe, or it's weird, or fears of others' judgments when those people aren't even active in my life, let alone supporting me the way I desire to be supported. And I'm not saying that that's any of their duties, nor even mutual desires. So there are less hang-ups as much as just frustrations of my own expectations and my own whims and my own yearnings. And I'm still holding on to this pipe dream. That all of my friends and I will be able to elucidate some form of an ambiamorous relationship and make our boundaries clear and known, and everybody be able to assess the value in community business and cohabitation plus ethical non-monogamy, and utilize this to get out of poverty rather than stagnate in it and gossip with each other and basically let jealousies and incongruencies in stories being told belittle one, nor bemoan us of friendship because of reputations and envy and just inconsiderations overall. So I'm going to hypocritically finish this bowl. How can you like and dislike something so much at the same time perplexes me. And that's part of why I like smoking, is the paradox of it. The contradicting moments of temporary ecstasy, euphoria, bliss, and then the reality of the stink and the harshness and the prejudice around smoking in general, of just where people treat you differently, you treat you differently, and that's the least talked about of how we use our substances to dismantle our own trust in ourselves and then somehow blame it on other people. I'm talking to you specifically, cigarette smokers, who take the decision out of your hands to consciously light up, and same with myself as an ex-tobacco user and a current cannabis smoker. I realize that when I'm lashing out at other people's habits, it's because it's just the closest reflection I have to something that I'm peeved with in my own life, and that I'm taking it upon myself to, almost as if like fighting with a reflection, attempt to manipulate somebody else's actions as if that justifies mine. So it's like as if I can, and I notice that as a smokers in general, regardless of what you're smoking, there's a complex there of whatever you want to call it, a simplex, if you will, because I find it simple, that if we can talk some people off of smoking and prevent them from doing this ugly old habit that we both enjoy and don't enjoy, that it somehow works itself out, and then that's okay. Like, if I talk some people out of smoking, then this next bowl hit is less guilt-ridden and shame-worthy because I'm being a stepping stone or a poster for do and don'ts, and I think that that's just lame. I think it's an excuse for people to be subordinate to their own appetite and our, again, desires and needs at times, depending on the context, because the way we think we need smoking is actually a substitution for some form of intimacy, attention, alone time, concentration, moment to process feelings. There's layers to it. It's many different things, and overall it just comes down to needing time for self as is ideal in the moment as can be. Because it's like, if you step outside and just take a breather, I guess some people think that would just be something that can't be done, when realistically, without people smoking, and if more people just needed 5-10 minute breathers or whatever, or phone breaks, or whatever. I'm not currently in the workforce, but whatever kind of reasonable excuse we can have instead of a justified poison break, some change has got to be made there. We're providing sensory rooms for children in schools now. We're providing safe rooms in other businesses, I'm sure, and contexts. So if we can do that there's no reason we can't do that on any level, and allow people to just go breathe and go listen to a song or two and take their mind off the work for a minute, just like an artist needs to step away from their work and get back to it with a refreshed mind. We should look at all of our work as a form of art and be able to do that without needing to poison ourselves and rely on the fumigation inspiration as lusty and fascinating, ancestral, primitive, and sometimes empowering as it can be. The entire disregard to how disempowering smoking can be, how it hurts your teeth, messes with your gums, makes your breath smell foul, makes you smell weird, can damage your cars and furniture and house and make other people bothered. People pay more insurance if they're smokers. There's plenty of reasons against smoking. So as I hypocritically yap and imbibe and attempt to imbibe more conscientiously, and also record just some sessions of mine, because again, I want to show up as I am, even if I show up for multiple episodes of my casting who I am, what I'm doing, where, what, why, and people think I'm in the wrong, I'm dirty, I'm ugly, fugly, freaking, stupid, cringe, annoying, promoting drug use, blah, blah, blah. At the end of all this, free speech, free assembly, free anything, freedom in general to me, regardless of how you spell that, has to come down to just being able to be as you are. Because otherwise I'm just expected to put on charades my entire life, show up on the camera being someone else that I am, or off camera, and holding my skinny fat stomach, or fucking holding farts, not say something I want to say, even though it came to mind, and that's of importance relatively to me, regardless of others' opinions. Like, I have the right to voice that, so I would prefer to do that with others' well-being in mind, of course, and yet not in that whole hell is paved with the path of good intentions. Like, sometimes communication exists just for based communication. If you don't like what somebody has to say, you don't have to take it any other way than you desire to respond to that. Like, you can understand that someone else's point of views is radically different as they are to you, and even overlapping and similar at times. That's their right. And you can call it a privilege or entitlement, or you can call it opinionated, you can call it respect or disrespect. And at the same time, without the ability to mature our innocence, without the ability to mature our lusts, our immature loves, and to challenge our what would you say, reservations, then how are we going to grow? How are we going to come to know one another fully as whole human beings? Where Jung says the most scary thing any of us can do is accept ourselves fully. So I challenge you to do that. I challenge you to bring this mantra into your world of how can I bring acceptance into the state of denial, and just see what it does for you. Communicate it to others. Do what it takes to make right, and maybe record yourself listening to yourself sometimes, because I like listening to people just express how they think. I feel that's a form of gratitude to others, because then we realize how we may feel alone, but at the same time, it's just because there's something that within ourselves we're leaving alone that we want to share with others. And that's part of the reason for me wanting to do this. That's part of the reason that I'm going to continue doing this. And worst case scenario, I get low views and made fun of by my family even more, or freaking judged by old friends that barely talk to me. Damn. I'd rather y'all be doing this with me anyways, and just making fun of the crazy shit we've been through and finding ways to heal from it and profit off of it. Talking to you, brother.